Hello, and thanks for tuning in. This short video is designed to show you how to identify and how to apply to positions at small and regional law firms. We will cover 4 areas in this brief how-to. First, what are small and regional law firms? Second, how to apply to small and regional law firms. Third, how to identify small and regional law firms. And finally, we will briefly discuss the timing of your applications. Small and regional law firms come in all shapes and sizes, but typically employ fewer than 250 attorneys and often fewer than 100 total attorneys. As opposed to large, full-service law firms, small and regional firms might only focus on a few specialized practice areas. While small firms might still handle very complex matters, the overall dollar value of a litigation or transactional matter might be slightly smaller than the typical matter handled by a large law firm. Small and regional law firms often pride themselves on having a more collegial and tight-knit culture given their smaller size, and they might have reduced compensation and hours expectations compared to large law firms. Next, let's discuss some items of note when applying to small and regional firms. First, small and regional law firms might not come to you. Typically, a majority of smaller and regional firms do not participate in Georgetown's on-campus interview program. While large law firms generally have predictable future staffing needs, which allows them to interview and offer positions to students 2 years before graduation, small and regional law firms tend to have less predictable hiring needs. They might only do so when they need to fill a specific position, and this might not happen every year. This means you will have to proactively seek out these firms and identify job opportunities on your own, with the help of your OCS advisor, of course. Small and regional law firms might also hire on different timelines than large law firms. Relatedly, small and regional firms might not have full-time recruiting staff working at the firm, so the hiring process can look different in a number of ways. Typically, large law firms will begin their hiring in December and continue throughout the early winter. This might not be the case with small and regional firms. You should be prepared to apply quickly once you identify right job postings. Remember that networking is crucial when applying to small and regional firms. Importantly, networking can provide insight into a firm's hiring timeline and practices. Small and mid-sized law firms might not advertise job postings at all, so networking will be the only way to identify some opportunities. It is also one of the best ways to learn about a small firm's culture and practice area focus. Finally, connecting with attorneys can be a great way to gain advocates in the job search process. A few practical notes on sending applications. First, make sure to identify a point of contact to list in your application materials. This might mean doing some research on the firm's website or asking for the contact information of a recruiter during your networking conversations. Second, form cover letters might not be successful with small law firms, so be sure to use any information you have learned from your networking and online research to tailor your cover letter and other application materials. Consider leading your application materials with the skills that you have developed during your law school career and in prior experiences. Small and regional firms will often staff matters very leanly, so it isn't uncommon for junior associates to do the work of mid-level and senior attorneys early in their careers, so a skills-based focus can be very helpful. There are a number of Georgetown and non-Georgetown resources available to aid you in seeking out small and regional firms. Many online resources like Chambers focus on large law firms, so be sure to consult the small firm resources listed on the OCS website. First, you'll want to navigate to the main page of the OCS website. From there, navigate to the Job Search Toolkit on the right-hand side of the page. Once there, you will see a link to the Find Jobs and Research Employers page. Finally, select Private Sector Resources, which will lead you to a password-protected page containing resources on small, medium, and public interest law firms. The first resource we will discuss is the OCS Small and Medium Firms list. This resource is an internal spreadsheet of nearly 500 small and medium law firms located throughout the United States. It is a great starting point to identify firms in a particular geographic area and firms that have a practice area interest similar to yours. Let's say that you're interested in small and regional law firms located in Chicago. If you navigate to the firm Banner Witkoff, you will notice that the firm focuses on intellectual property law and typically hosts a summer program. So this might be a firm worth exploring further if you are interested in IP work. If you then scroll down to Bartlett Beck, you will see in the notes section that the firm typically hires law school grads only after completing a federal clerkship. Based on this information, you might conclude that your current search is better spent focusing on other firms for the time being. One final note, always be sure to check this information against the firm's website. Things might have changed since we compiled this list, so it's always prudent to double check. The next helpful resource is the Martindale-Hubbell database, which is a national directory of law firms listed by state, city, and alphabetically by firm. As you can see, you can search by practice area, attorneys, law firm, and law school. Let's say that you're interested in small and regional law firms in New York City. If you enter a search for New York City in the main search bar, it will return nearly 4,000 attorneys and over 1,200 law firms. Please note that Martindale organizes firms by physical address. So if you're interested in the DC area, don't forget to search the wider geographic area, such as McLean or Bethesda. Let's try to narrow that down to a smaller number. Maybe you're interested in real estate law firms with 20 to 49 attorneys. If you select those options on the left-hand side of the screen, the database will return a much more manageable 20 law firms. From here, you can navigate to individual law firm and attorney profiles. While there's no guarantee that every one of these firms will hire summer associates, it is certainly worth your time to conduct further research and to network with 1 or 2 attorneys at a firm of interest. As we discussed before, networking is essential to learning about job opportunities and to properly tailor your application materials. The next resource we will discuss is the NALP directory. The NALP directory is a free resource that can be accessed on nalpdirectory.com. While you will generally find large law firms through the NALP directory, there may be smaller and regional firms who are also NALP members, so it is worth keeping in mind during your search. I will not discuss the NALP directory in detail here because we have a separate video detailing the various features of the NALP directory. You can find that video in our job search video library. Another great resource to consult is the US News and World Report's regional law firm rankings. This list contains a 50-state list of small and regional law firms, which can be filtered by city and practice area. As you can see, when I select New York State, I can navigate to the left-hand side of the screen to filter by city and practice area of interest. Note that some large law firms will be included in this list, but it's still an excellent source for identifying and researching small and regional firms. There are also a number of websites that aggregate, evaluate, and rank law firms, including small and regional firms. We list a number of these resources on the private sector resources page of the OCS website. For example, Vault maintains a yearly list of best mid-sized firms to work for, which ranks firms based on a number of unique factors, including quality of work, firm culture, hours, and compensation. Vault also compiles a top 150 law firms under 150, which is sortable by practice area and location. While you should not take any one ranking as gospel, these sites can be helpful not only in identifying law firms, but also understanding more about a law firm's relative place in the national or regional law firm markets. Lastly, we will discuss the timing of your applications. It is generally better to apply early rather than later. Small and regional firms might not consider large numbers of candidates and might be able to make decisions faster than big law firms who consider relatively more applications. Make sure to have your application materials reviewed by OCS at the beginning of your job search so that you are prepared to apply when you identify positions. Finally, be prepared to follow up with any firms to which you apply. Send a follow-up email to the recruiter or hiring partner within 2 weeks after you sent your application to reiterate your continued interest in the firm. We hope that this tutorial will help you make the most of your small and regional law firm searches. There are a number of resources at your disposal to make this process more efficient and effective. For more information, please review the materials on the Office of Career Strategy website or reach out to your OCS advisor.